Bar chords are the mountain that every beginner guitar player needs to climb eventually. It is the final boss at the end of that level, but they're really hard. Today we are going to ask, why are they so hard, how to best approach them, and what are some of the most common mistakes I've seen my students make over the years. Welcome to the Whys of Music. Let's get started. In general, the biggest mistake I see is that students approach it the wrong way. It is not about strength. It is about precision. It is about where exactly you place your fingers. And those tiny little details are going to make all the difference. And that's a frustrating thing about bar chords. That's why you can have it down one day and lose it the next. So today we're going to focus on those tiny little details that are going to make all the difference. The first common mistake we're going to talk about is that students don't know about the dead zone. Let's look at our first problem. Your finger's not flat, but we need it to be flat. It's especially not flat in this little middle section right here. That's what I like to call the dead zone. In the dead zone, your bar is always going to sound muted. Wherever the dead zone touches, don't expect those strings to ring out properly. But we can use other fingers to block that section of our bar. If I were to take an E major sort of bar chord shape and push it up to the 5th fret, I would want to make sure that the dead zone of my finger is going to be covered by my other fingers. So that means my dead zone needs to be on the A, D, and G strings, just like this. Sounds pretty clean, right? But what if I take away those extra fingers? I'm only really barring 3 of them. I'm letting my finger sort of gently curve almost a little bit. But I'm making sure to hit the strings that need to ring. I never play a bar chord perfectly. I'm always arching it and letting my dead zone be dead, because it doesn't really matter. Now, this does mean that if you are going to be playing with a different shape, you need to adjust your bar height. So if I were playing a bar chord based on the E string, my bar is going to be higher up than if I were playing a bar chord based on the A string. So this is where I'd place my bar if I were doing this A major type shape. And again, my dead zone is lower now. It's on the D, G, and B strings because that's where my additional fingers are going to be. The second most common mistake I see is that students try to learn bar chords that are too close to the headstock. It's a lot more common for students to encounter an F or a B major chord because they're going to occur in a lot of guitar songs. But those bar chords are harder to play than when you try them up the neck. And the reason why is because we have this little plastic or bone nut. And the nut is pushing the strings up, giving you a lot more resistance when you're closer to it. Not only that, you have to stretch your fingers further out because the bars get skinnier and skinnier as you move up the neck. So if you were to try that same chord shape as, say, this F major, try it up here on the 5th fret or 6, 7, 8, it's going to sound a lot better and going to be a lot easier to play because you don't need to apply as much pressure as you would down here. Mistake number 3. Students try to use the soft part of their finger. The underside of your finger makes sense when you're trying to make a bar because it feels like you can get it the flattest and squeeze the hardest. But this isn't exactly the case. If you roll your finger over a bit towards the headstock, you're actually going to get a bonier and flatter and stronger part of your bar. So if I'm trying to play an F chord where I need to apply extra pressure, but again, don't want to squeeze too hard, I would turn my finger over. So you can watch my nail. Roll over a little bit and face the headstock. And that's going to give me a little bit extra power, a little bit extra force without actually having to squeeze that much harder. This is going to make a big difference, especially if you're playing an older acoustic guitar or just a cheaper guitar in general that isn't made quite as well. And lastly, mistake number 4, bar chords are a long-term goal. I know that is not what you want to hear. You are watching a YouTube video. You want to learn it as quick as possible. However, bar chords are something that just take time. Now, I hope by the end of this video that you'll be able to play a bar chord, but to do it consistently really just takes muscle memory to get those tiny details down in your fingers so you can do it all the time. So what's going to give you the best chance of really being able to play these chords is, I would say, 5 minutes of distracted practice every day. What I mean by distracted practice is you don't have to focus or think about what you're doing. You can be watching TV, listening to a podcast, and that way you can just get used to switching your fingers. In general, 5 minutes of distracted practice every day for about a month should be enough to get you really rocking and rolling. Those are my tips. I hope you enjoyed it. Other guitar players, please let me know if there are any tips that I missed that helped you, or if you felt I didn't address some of your concerns, let me know with a friendly comment so we can all learn together. Thank you very much for tuning in. I would really appreciate it if you would be able to like this video, and I will see you next time on The Whys of Music.